Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namasami. Well, it's opportunity to reflect and always a question. Talking on Dhamma, what are we doing here? What is it we are practicing? What is the goal of our life? What we're trying to achieve or free ourselves from? One can only speak about one's own experience, really. We can generalize. Some things apparently are the same for everybody. But you can never really know. So when sometimes we read scriptures, or I think mainly from scriptures, the Buddha talks about liberation. There's also a talk about not becoming, not being born again. And I think for myself, and for probably most of us, this idea of not being born again is hard to relate to, not particularly attractive. Overcoming suffering. It also, at least for me personally, wasn't really what brought me here. I was in my 20s, late 20s, and obviously you do suffer, and in that age, like in every age, but there is always hope that things will get better, and life is ahead of you, and the future will be brighter and happier. You will correct your mistakes and have opportunities. So it's not really the idea of being free from suffering. Yes, to some degree, but not because I was afraid of suffering. And I don't even think that I was able to formulate for myself what was bringing me here, what I was drawn to. It's certainly not something that was logical, not something that a decision made through thinking and planning and purpose, real purpose, not some temporary thing that you kind of strive to get and then you have it as some kind of like a material goal. Say if you want to build a house, you strive for it and then you build a house. Or if you want to get a degree, then you strive for it and you get a degree. But a purpose beyond that, something that I couldn't really describe or formulate, but in a sense was like a magnet. And real, seemed quite real. The teaching as formulated, say, in the Four Noble Truths, in the Dhammacakka, about not getting what you want is suffering. Losing what is dear to you is suffering. So that was real. That was about me. And it almost like opened a glimpse of something beyond this world. Like if you think about ocean, a big ocean. Can be quite frightening to approach and be lost in it. But at the same time, you can't forget about it. It's too real to forget. Sometimes when people ask, why are you here? What do you want from this? I would answer, I want to know what the Buddha have known, to discover what he discovered, to experience what he experienced. And of all the things that I can do in life, this is the most worthwhile. In terms of purpose, that's worthy striving for. Something that cannot be taken away from you. Something that you know yourself, something you experienced. A thing can be taken from you. A skill, you can learn a skill and then you can forget it. You can learn a language and then lose it. You can lose memory. But if you know what the Buddha knows, you cannot lose it. It's not something that you learn and retain in your memory. It goes beyond you. It's not about you. Maybe you can say it changes you. I also like these words, to go beyond one's conditioning. Conditioning is it's like a training. It's like education. Other people, circumstances, culture, everything is shaping, training us to act in a certain way, to think in a certain way, to like certain things and resent others. You can say nature. This is our nature. Nature is also conditioning us. We are manifestation of nature, human nature. Conditioned by nature. Conditioning limits, puts restrictions. So in that sense, then liberation, freedom from conditioning, is a relief for the heart. Not having to be somebody, not having to be in a certain way. That's why we like to be alone, because you don't have to be anybody. Once you passed this craving for socializing, then solitude is very refreshing. calming. Conditioning can be also rewarding. Of course, it's if we train ourselves to become a certain way, then we are rewarded with say a position, social position. We can be respected. We can be rewarded with resources, access to sense pleasures, access to power. But as much as rewarding it can be, it's it's temporary. To commit one's life to something like that is frightening. To spend your life to get something that you are going to lose is frightening, at least for me. That's how I felt coming here. But we can't just put it down. The nature doesn't just let us go. We can't be free from our conditioning just at will, just deciding I'm not going to follow this. It's like an addiction. We are addicted to sense pleasures, to becoming, to being somebody. Addicted to be afraid of death, afraid of losing what we have. Addicted to our views. And we often don't see it that way. Because we don't see it that way, so we make no attempts to free ourselves. We are content with being rewarded by what we have and hoping to avoid the suffering, basically. Suffering inherent in being somebody. Being addicted to sense pleasures, to being. Until you see it that way, until you have some perspective, on that. And then when you do, then the question arises, how do I free myself? What did I do? So here is our monastic conditioning, which is aimed at going beyond conditioning. So we put restrictions. We train to become in such a way that allows to go beyond becoming, if it makes sense. We were chanting the Eightfold Path this evening. What is the right intention? Intention of renunciation, intention of non-ill will, intention of non-cruelty. So these are the restrictions we put on ourselves. Renunciation means we are willing to give up what is rewarding, pleasant, satisfying. Willing to give up attachment to sense pleasures. Give up search for sense pleasures. Search for status, identity, being somebody. Things that are considered desirable in the material world. And be patient with that which is unpleasant, difficult to endure, intention of non-ill will to that which is provocative of ill will. Each other, to start with, oneself, the weather, whatever brings stress, brings unpleasant feelings. So we develop patience, giving up ill will towards all that. So this is the essence of a samana, of one who is training to go beyond conditioning, beyond suffering, beyond this material world. Essentially, and as with everything, Sometimes you fail, so you pick yourself up and restart again. Sometimes you lose motivation, so you retreat to yourself and look for it again. Going back to that original inspiration. What did I come here for? What did I leave behind as a young man? Now I don't do it very often, but in the first years I did do it quite a lot. Reflecting. Is it still important to me? Is it something that I want to continue doing? And listening to my heart, not listening to craving for whatever seemed to be dominating at the time. Once you have it's not really a sense, it's more like a intuition, perhaps. As I said, like a great ocean being there. You don't forget about it, even though you may not think about it, but it's like a magnet calling you. It's not something that can be known through senses. It's not something that can be described, something that can be compared to. It's peace, stillness. So it can only be known intuitively, when the heart is still, when the heart is peaceful. So we practice, we bring, you can say, emotions, recollect the emotions, states of our heart that are conducive for the insight, loving kindness, acceptance, equanimity. And as we do, we experience joy as an unexpected bonus, reward. And it doesn't matter that it takes time, because it takes time. We don't know how long. But impatience is not going to help. Trying harder is not going to help. Trying to concentrate your attention on something is not going to help. Sometimes people confuse mindfulness for being focused on something, concentrating attention. They walk attentively to the body, so they sit attentively to the whatever posture, breath. Mindfulness is knowing what we experience, knowing body is like this, breathing like this, state of the heart is like this, peaceful, restless, content or discontent, just knowing. And that knowing is with us through the day. We don't need to produce it. It's there. During one of the winter retreats, we had a Sangha member, someone recently ordained, and they used to walk in meditation on the field with a bottle of water on the top of the head. They thought this way they are practicing mindfulness. Sometimes people walk backwards on the meditation path, or put objects on the head, just to be present. But all that is not really necessary, just makes you look foolish. which is, you don't deserve that. So being mindful means knowing this is what the posture is like, this is what feelings are like. I feel pleasure, pain, neutral, the skin touching the cushion, whatever. Maybe some tension inside. So these are the feelings, these are the emotions. Knowing the cessation of feelings, when things end, when stillness is experienced. And learning not to be afraid of it, learning to appreciate it. Because ego is afraid of not being, not experiencing. So it takes time, it takes patience, and a reminder to incline our minds to that purpose, which is beyond this world. Something that cannot be lost. So I think enough for today.